Greetings, pen pals. Here we have yet another clear acrylic eyedropper pen from Moonman. This one's a particularly nice one, at least in my opinion. This is the S5. So let's get right to it. Again, really nice acrylic pen. Beautiful, crystal clear acrylic. One thing I always like about these acrylic pens, they have these kind of nice chunky acrylic bits on the ends that really kind of show off the acrylic, which is really pretty nice. This particular pen, not a big pen by any means. Here it is compared to a Lamy Safari and a Pilot Metropolitan. So you can see, at least capped, it's pretty much in the ballpark with these two pens. Can we compare it to some other Moonman pens? Yes, we most certainly can. Moonman does seem to work within a very specific set of size parameters for pens. So here is our S5 that we're looking at today. Here is other clear acrylic eyedropper pens from Moonman in different shapes, but again, as you can see, size is pretty much the same. So here is the C1. Here is the M2, and here's, we'll throw in a wooden Moonman pen, completely different material, but you can see size-wise is pretty much in line. This is the M6. So Moonman definitely seems to be working in definitely a very narrow size range, but again, quite consistent. Quite consistent. Back to our S5, it sort of has this kind of fishtail shape, which there are other pens that do this. Pen PBS sells some pens that are this shape as well. Interesting shape, clipless, but it does have a roll stop, which is this little rhinestone here. Not particularly my taste. This wouldn't be my first choice of what I do for a roll stop. At least it's just sort of a clear one and not some crazy color or something like that. And it does work. On that band, again, this is not a cap band. This is a band around the barrel. It has the roll stop, and it does have Moonman etched into the band. In terms of uncapping the pen, it does take 3 turns to unscrew. Personally, I think this pen's a little short. You can use it unposted just fine, but it does post, and it posts really nicely, very deeply and very solidly. And since it posts so deeply, it doesn't actually get that much longer when you post it. So those of you who don't like to post, this might be a pen that you post. The section is got this really nice, in this particular one, pattern here going on here. You got pretty much every color but red or yellow here. You got greens, you got purples, you got browns and blues, and it's really just a really pretty acrylic section. Unfortunately, you do have a number 5 nib here. So, and it has Moonman Superior Quality Moonman logo and some scroll work. So the bad news is it's only a number 5 nib. However, the good news is they do give you a bag of goodies along with this pen. So it does come with a eyedropper, and it comes with 2 extra nibs. So you know you don't get a number 6 nib, but you do get 3 number 5 nibs. So let's look at the nibs that we got with this, and we'll kind of walk through them. We're going to do writing samples of all of these. So we have this nib which came on here, which we'd call, I guess, a fine. You have another one next to it. Again, these have different branding and logos on it. It does appear to be a bit broader. We'll see that on the writing sample. And then the other one looks like an oblique stub. So we're going to try all 3 of these and see how they all write. But like I said, the bad news is it's only a number 5 nib. The good news is you do get 3 of them. So 3 times number 5, I guess, would be a number 15. No, it doesn't work that way? Okay. So you basically, this is a unscrew to fill. It does have a nice O-ring there. I am going to put a little silicone grease on there before we fill it up. But speaking of filling it up, I guess it's right around the time to do that. So let's do that right now. Okay, like I said, we're going to put some silicone grease on these threads here. Just need to do, just need a tiny bit. if you don't have silicone grease, if you don't have silicone grease and you get a pen like this, it's not 100% necessary, but I have some, so I figured why not. So we'll set that nib unit aside for a minute, and now let's talk about the ink we're going to put in here. This is Colorverse Apollo 11. This came as part of us back in 2019 for the 50th anniversary of the Apollo moon landing. This came in a set of 6 inks from Colorverse, and it was a pretty expensive set. It was a $100 set, but it was really box grade. I did a whole unboxing video of it. You can go check and find that from July of 2019. So this was a really, really nice ink that came with this. So it was this large bottle and 5 smaller bottles. So we will check this ink out, and we're going to even use the eyedropper that Moonman provided us, so we can check to make sure that works properly as well. So we'll just unscrew that. We will take up some ink and we'll put it right in our barrel here. And eyedropper filling systems are among the easiest to use, obviously. And we'll fill that right up to the base of the threads. And then we will just simply screw on our nib unit. That section goes on like so. Make sure it's sealed, don't want to over tighten it. I'm going to put the cap on, and then I'm going to let that sit for just a minute or so, because this nib and feed was never really dipped in the ink. So we want to give the ink a little time to flow down to that into that nib and feed. We will do that, and then we shall return and see how this writes. Okay, so like we said, we're going to try all 3 nibs out here. So this is the first nib. So this is, as we said, this is the Moonman S5, and this. Oh, I don't think, did I give you the weight on this pen? It's 17 grams, by the way, not counting the ink. So if wasn't sure, I don't remember if I gave you the weight at the top of the video. But anyway, so this is a Moonman S5, and this has a number 5 steel nib. And this is the stock nib, we'll call it, which I guess we'll say is a fine. That's what I would call it anyway. And again, writes well, smooth. I had a bad run of some Moonman nibs. Some of the number 6 nibs that I had really needed a lot of tuning and stuff like that. So I haven't had the best of luck with Moonman nibs, but this actually writes quite well. So this flows well. And like I said, it's definitely smooth. Really quite pleasant to write with. In terms of wetness, I would say it's just about average. In terms of comfort, this pen actually it's got a decently narrow section, but it's got this hourglass shaped section, but it gets quite girthy up here. So this is pretty chunky up here. So I find when you hold it here, you can actually feel kind of how girthy it is right there. So it's not uncomfortable, but it definitely has a distinct feel to it. Let's just put it that way. And then this rhinestone is, since it's right on, it's lined up with the nib, so it's kind of right on top. So you may find that annoying too, depending on how you hold it. So just be aware of that. But this particular nib is definitely good. So we'll give that nib a check. And now let's try the other nib. I'm not really, I think this nib might be a bit broader. And then we'll try this one. Then we'll try the oblique stub that it came with. So we'll change out this nib. We're just going to take some paper towel. We're going to twist out this nib. Try not to get too much ink everywhere. And then we will put the new nib in. And does have, by the way, it does have an O-ring at the end of the nib unit to keep it all nice and sealed, so that's pretty nice. Tighten that down, but not too much. And then we'll do what we did before. I'm going to put the cap on, I'm going to invert it, and then just give it a minute or so to let the ink transfer down into our nib. Be right back. Okay, so we're back with our second nib. This was the one that I thought was maybe a bit broader than the other one. So this is this would be, like I said again, our Moonman S5, and we'll call this our alternate nib. I'm not sure. Yeah, let's write directly above the last sample to compare it. I'll write the same text. I would say it's pretty much identical. But this is a good nib. It's just pretty much the same. I'm not seeing really much in the way of difference at all between this nib and the first nib. But again, it's a great nib. So nice to have a spare nib, I guess. It would be nice if it was really different. But does it flex maybe? No, not really. Yeah, no, nothing really different about this nib at all. But again, nice nib. No complaints in that respect. But it would have been nice to have been different than one of the other nib. The third nib definitely is different. That looks like an oblique stub, so we're going to try that one right now. So let's basically do the same procedure we did last time. I'm going to unscrew this nib unit here, and we will just then simply take the new nib, we'll put it in, we will cinch it down, and we will, hold on a second, where is that, why is that O-ring there? That O-ring looks like it's in the wrong place. Shouldn't that O-ring be under, yeah, hold on a second, this O-ring has no business being there. The O-ring on the top there, that O-ring should be, here. Come on. There we go. Yeah, the O-ring should be there. Okay. So let's tighten that down, and not too tight, and make sure everything is all lined up. Okay. All right, this is the nib and feed are not really aligned. Yeah, okay, that's okay. All right, and then again, same thing. We're going to cap this, and then we will let it sit for a minute or two, and we'll be right back. Okay, here we are back with our Moonman S5 with that third nib, which is definitely, so again, like I said, we have our Moonman S5, and this has what appears to be an oblique stub nib. And as you can see, this clearly writes differently, which is nice, and it's definitely doing exactly what it's supposed to. So there's our upstrokes, there's our cross strokes, we're getting some nice line variation. Again, pretty smooth. Pretty nice. I'm actually glad I used this nib last, because I'm actually going to leave this nib in the pen, because this is nice and a little bit different. and very happy with the way this one writes. So again, we're dealing with a pretty nice pen here. Like I said, so we had 3 nibs to review. So the stock nib was very nice. In sort of as a fine nib. What I guess we'll call the alternate nib is equally nice. Writes virtually identical. So these two are, for all intents and purposes, best I could tell, are interchangeable. I just realized the O-ring's in the wrong place on this one too, so I'll fix that later. And then the third nib, which is our oblique stub, is writing quite nice and doing exactly what we want to. And this one is actually nice and wet too, which I really kind of like. So this one is definitely, in my opinion, the winner nib of the 3, but you do get 3 nice nibs included with this pen. It would really be super nice if all you folks could please like, comment, share, and subscribe. That would be just outstanding and very much appreciated. So that I hope gives you some clarity on this Moonman S5. Pretty nice pen this week. I hope you liked this video and thought it was worthwhile, because I know I sure did. And as always, until we see each other again, have a great day. Bye-bye.